these words, may our meditations, may our actions be the light on this day. Amen. Thank you. 6 days later, Christ gathered her community at the center of the labyrinth. The piano was at the center, and 2 black stools stood in accompaniment. When the time was ripe, 3 musicians found their way to the center of the labyrinth. And within seconds, those who had gathered around the circle were held in suspension. Quilted garments had been strewn under the piano so that those who might venture in could be enveloped in the vibration of the experience underneath. And some did, especially the children. For 40 minutes, Spirit embraced the whole in the music of now, dancing in the language of meter and time, harmony and dissonance. Spirit moved, Spirit inspired, Spirit loved, Spirit freed, Spirit claimed, Spirit called, Spirit knit one to the other. There was no language but music. The message was love, and time stopped. Oh, how good it was to be there. When it was over, not a person moved. There was quiet conversation between people, but no one wanted to open the door that would disrupt the sanctuary, the sacred sanctuary that Spirit had built. The moment was drawing to a close. There would be other moments, but this one would never happen again. To open the door would mean returning to the world outside the labyrinth. To open the door would mean life in all of its fullness would continue unabated. And not a soul in the room was ready to make that transition. 30 minutes later, the first pilgrims made a move to leave the center of the labyrinth. Slowly, one by one, they pulled their spirits from the dance floor and found some nourishment in the kitchen. Soon others followed. But the last of the pilgrims left nearly 3 hours after the evening began. So difficult it was to come away from the center. There was Friday Night Live before February 24th. And there is Friday Night Live after February 24th. It was a kairos moment. The mystery of God obliquely cut through chronos time. And words fail to describe the experience. Was God's presence evoked? Was Christ's name spoken? Every note of the music was infused with the dance of the Trinity. It could not have been more so. We touched the hem of his garment. The Spirit flowed through, and we were healed. The story of the Transfiguration appears in all three of the synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. We read the story of the Transfiguration on the Sunday before we begin the season of Lent. It's a significant turning moment in the life of the church. With the law and the prophets, symbolized by the images of Moses and Elijah, standing with Jesus in the mystical moment on the high mountain, Jesus' first followers, Peter, James, and John, see what they'd never seen before. Jesus is no ordinary guy. They had never seen the Son of God the way they saw him in that moment. God interrupts Peter's blathering about building silly tents, trying to make a mystical moment permanent. God says, "This is my Son, my beloved, with whom I'm well pleased. Listen to him." Stop talking, Peter. Listen to him. Where else have we heard those words? When Jesus rose out of the waters of baptism. Behold, listen up. This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I'm well pleased. Well, when that happens, the disciples hit the ground. They're afraid. They're completely afraid. What would you do if your puny little image of Jesus gets blown out of the water by God's insistence on a commitment that you just now realized? Not 3 verses earlier, Jesus says to those same disciples, "If you want to follow me, take up your cross. For those who gain their life will forfeit their souls. But those who lose their life for my life and the sake of the gospel will gain it." In that mystical mountaintop where their insipid worldview of Jesus is shattered and the truth of his identity is revealed, the disciples drop to the ground. They're so afraid. Those of you who know me well know that I'm in a course at VST, the history of Christian theology, the history of Christian thought in the first centuries. We've been reintroduced to the notion of Trinity. Do you know that the notion of Trinity first came from the church trying to figure out the nature of Jesus' relationship to God? They had to figure that out. And they were reading scripture to do it. And there were all sorts of weird ideas. When we got to landing on the place where the revised version of the Nicene Creed gets to, I realized, oh, my vision of the Trinity was blown out of the water. I actually, in class, had a visceral experience of being afraid. I'm a fake. I'm a charlatan. If that's the Trinity, I have some work to do. I get being afraid enough to drop to the ground. But what does Jesus do? He comes to the disciples and he says, "Don't be afraid." And they look up, and he's just standing there. It's just Jesus. It's just the way he was. It's just me. There was Jesus before they went up the mountainside. And there was Jesus after they came down, right? Their perspective of Jesus again be the same. How do I speak about what happened here on Friday night that comes anywhere near being faithful to the experience? Words fail. How can the disciples possibly describe to the others what happened on the mountaintop? Jesus knows we can't. And he says, don't tell anyone about this until the Son of Man comes. There's a hint of what's to come in that message. Don't tell anyone. It's always dangerous to add something to the scriptures that aren't there. But I wonder if Jesus might have added, don't tell anyone, because you know what? They're not going to get it. They will not get it. Even as I tell you the story of what happened on Friday, you're going, okay. Wonder what's for supper. Tell no one because they won't understand. And that's not the only thing. You know, the mystical experiences are fantastic. We don't know what happens sometimes. We just know they happened. But they can't be permanent. We can't build tents around them. We can't not leave the sanctuary. We can't not get out of the center of the labyrinth. And I think that's what was behind Jesus' message as well. Don't tell anybody. Get on with your life. Yeah, that happened as you perceived it. The question is, how then shall you live? What difference now does that make? For the season of Epiphany, we've been reading Paul's encouragement to the church. Quit your divisions. Get right with the foundation. The foundation is Jesus Christ. Just like the disciples on that mountain, just like those pilgrims on the Labyrinth Friday, we have been given a glimpse, just a glimpse, of what that means in real terms. Christ means life. New life. Life. Those who lose their lives for the sake of the gospel will gain it. May we be richly blessed as we find out together how true this is. Amen. Please pray with me. Holy One, holy mystery, we touch the hem of your garments. We get a glimpse of how radiant you are. We get a glimpse of how radiant life is. We get a glimpse of how life calls us into it with fresh eyes. Frightens us. Be with us in our fear. Be with us in our hope. Be with us in our joy. Be with us in our yes, in the movement forward. We offer this prayer and all our prayers in the name of Christ, the radiant one,